What's good, everybody? It's your boy Kirk Ray Smith. Y'all know what it is. Um, all right, so um, I'm probably gonna put like a couple like quick videos together like this, and I'll just kind of call this kind of part one of I would call it the occasional usage of black people. Put it that way: the occasional use of black people. So it kind of works like this. So I'll start it this way. So you have black people who happen to be professionals, and then you have professional black people. The difference is with the first group, the former black people who happen to be professionals. It's just that. It's just that some of us are been fortunate enough to be in professional positions beyond frontline, beyond middle management, upper level, high level, senior management, just these executive roles, vice presidents, CEOs, and, district people and that type of thing, presidents and all of that. Um, and we just happen to be black in these roles. That's kind of how it goes. And then you have people who have made a living and a career off of being black in that they are selective about causes. And so if they see an opportunity to leverage their blackness to get behind a cause, they'll do that. A lot of times it's superficial. There's really no real concern about black people or the black, community or black culture, but they want to take advantage of an opportunity to kind of jump on the bandwagon or get behind an issue that impacts black people as a black person, and then they become, this voice for us, and they make a living. So whether they're running for political office or trying to obtain some kind of book deal or position or affluence or title or whatever, they leverage it, they use it nonetheless, and that's kind of how it works. And I'm quite sure that's the case for all races, not just unique to black people. So you kind of get my drift. Okay. But also, you have people in general, black, white, whatever their race, color, creed, ethnicity. They like to use black people to their advantage. So again, if they're running for political office, and they want the black vote, or they want to communicate or convey this message that somehow they're behind or with the black community, then they'll do just that. And if they're black, they'll put a spotlight on racism and everything that black people deal with, all the health disparities, the wealth, income disparities, and all these things, educational disparities. They'll ride that. They'll bang on that. And that's how it goes. And again, black people do it, white people do it. All types of people do this when it comes to black people and black issues to get whatever it is that they're looking for. That's just a fact. I mean, I'm not making this up. This is just reality. It's how it works. And then once they obtain or secure whatever it is that they're looking for, then all of a sudden those issues become, somehow work their way to the back burner, become secondary or tertiary, but definitely no longer primary, because they kind of, got what they wanted out of the deal. Okay. And that's just how it's always been. Ever since, politics has even been in play in this country, it's always been like that. And even during slavery, you had people, in the North who could care less about black people, but they appeared to care about enslaved black people in the South for whatever their agenda is or whatever goals they had. That's just how it works. That's just how it goes, man. And throughout history, you've had people, all of a sudden, get on the black side of things for whatever their aspirations were. Okay, so at any rate, so I equate that to this. And again, I'll get into, I'll do, try to keep these videos under 10 minutes because I don't want to keep you long, and I'll try to do a couple of them. But let me kind of go in this direction. So what I compare that to is, and I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with sports, but particularly in like basketball and hockey, they have these guys they call goons, and women as well that play hockey and play basketball. They have a goon on the team. Okay, a goon. So a goon is kind of like, that rough person you bring off the bench to restore order. So if there's the best player on the other team and you want somebody to guard him or her, tough, you put the goon on them. Or if there's some kind of fight or scuffle, you bring that goon in to take care of things, settle the score. They'll take all the fouls and whatever, the penalties or whatever it is. They'll take all of that for the team just to straighten things out. Then they'll go back to the bench. But you never see them speaking for the team at a post-game press conference, or you don't hear them talk a lot about them. There's not a whole lot of stats that they talk about when it comes to goons. You just kind of know who they are. And so these men, these women, they're journeymen. So they bounce around from team to team. And, again, they just sit silent, make their money, and we bring them in when we need them. And so that's really, I think, one of the best analogies to describe how we're used, black people are, particularly in this country, is, they'll bring us when they need us. They'll bring us to the forefront to leverage us or whatever it is. And again, black people, white people, they do this to us all the time. They'll bring us up and use us. And then, we'll give them whatever they need and go back to the bench quietly and say nothing. And just wait for them to call on us again, and we'll do our part. And that's kind of how historically black people have been positioned in this country. Is it's something about us. It's something about our plight, or our history, our suffering. There's something about the experience of black people that's attractive, situationally, and when it benefits whoever, individual or group that needs us at the time. But once they get what they need from us, then we're no longer that important. I can tell you that right now. And if you really want to, dig into history, American history, and you look at the process in which slavery was ultimately abolished, it wasn't like, somebody had an epiphany overnight and decided they wanted to free black people. That was never the driving force. Now, obviously, that was the sort of the core issue around the Civil War, but a lot of that too was economic, and it was power. It was about power. It was about legislative power. It was about who would dominate, the Union or the Confederacy, and slavery was the biggest issue, and slavery was really more about the economic stability of the South than anything else. That they were fighting for their survival, so they felt like without slavery they would be irrelevant. So, and again, in the North, the Union, a lot of it was a political, it was about power, and it was a lot about compromise. But all I'm saying is just recognize, and I'm not necessarily saying that every time somebody brings up a black issue, that it's always a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. My thing is, whether it's out of pretense or sincerity, if long as we get what we need at the end of the day, that's what's important to me ultimately. However, there are people out there who are like that, but this is just to give you knowledge of it. And so now you understand, so you don't have to be naive. And there's really nothing to get upset about. It is what it is. You just have to decide on how you're going to do that, how you're going to live your life, whether you're white or black, brown, yellow, whatever you are, red. You have to decide on how you're going to live your life. You get this information, then you decide what you're going to do with it. My job isn't to change you or convert you or get you to believe what I believe. I want to encourage you to get information for yourself and then begin to live your life accordingly. So at any rate, that's that. Again, it's the occasional usage of black people. And I'll call this part one, and then we'll get into it. But I want to keep everything under 10 minutes. So I'll kind of let this run for a few days or so and let you guys kind of let that sink in. But I'd love to hear your comments and your responses. So I think it's a worthy conversation. So take it easy. Best to all. One.